So there's a saying that I have that I've used for years now, and many people who have followed me here for a while know this. It's that price is always the lagging metric. It's always the last thing to move. Price can, in fact, be very deceiving. And I think right now, what price is kind of showing is uncertainty and fear, and people don't know what's going to happen next in the crypto market. But yet, the fundamentals are painting a very different story. And this is that we're actually on the verge of the largest short squeeze in crypto history, because there are a few pieces of information that most people are ignoring in the space, and you can't ignore it for much longer. So again, if you guys haven't already, make sure you show your support below. The channel's been growing like crazy. It's all because of you guys, and let me know how you guys are enjoying the content. But what we're seeing today is some red. It's not surprising. We talked about this earlier today, that long leverage liquidation zones were right up against price. I expected a little bit of a downside as the day kind of went on. And, earlier today, I did, in fact, open up a BTC short position, opened it up at about 84.4, closed it at about 83.539, up about 51%. Again, if you guys do want to check out either Margex or BTCC, there are links in the description below. Feel free to check those out if you guys would like. Understand there is risk that comes with leverage, but I just kind of took advantage of those quick movements we experienced earlier on in the day. And, right now, we may see a little bit of chop here and there, a little bit of red, but I don't think that red's going to last much longer. And why I'm saying that is we've seen a very distinct shift in the type of loud noise in the space, because what we've been seeing over the last few months is negative loud noise, tariffs, economic uncertainty, black swan events. Now the noise is getting quite positive. Okay. Good macro data, tariffs cooling down, right? Confidence picking up in the crypto market, institutional buying shifting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is in fact helping us right now shift that momentum the opposite direction. And while this has all been taking place, there is something that behind the scenes people have been kind of ignoring, because it's always something that impacts prices as we move on. And this is this fact that supply in the markets for ADA, for BTC, for other assets is insanely low. So what we've been seeing for quite some time is me, other people in the space, we've been very heavily buying this dip, right? We've been basically seeing the shift from the hands of the impatient to the hands of the patient. When we look at institutional players, while some public dumping has been taking place, what we've been seeing is over-the-counter accumulation taking place behind the scenes that most people aren't attuned to, that they don't pay attention to, and those over-the-counter supplies are dwindling. They're dropping to some insanely low levels. In fact, what we're starting to see on the public side now is some accumulation take place there, or at least the slowing down of selling. So they're about to make a major shift. Now, obviously, this isn't a guarantee or anything like that. But what I will also point to is the fact that when we look at something like ADA supply, guys, this is what exchange flows have looked like since all the way back in 2021. So what we've seen now for almost 200 weeks is a pretty consistent theme of accumulation and removal. In 200 weeks, it's been about 10 or 12 that have actually been inflow to exchange weeks. So what you've seen is this hoarding of supply, even as of late, even as prices dropped. And the problem that you're going to run into now is there's going to be very little to go around when adoption takes place. Right now, doesn't really matter, right? We're still talking about just this same money in the space currently matriculating. This is this, USDT dominance, the capital that's sitting on the sidelines currently. This is going to be re-entering the space. This is what's going to move the market, and frankly, will cause us to set a new all-time high in terms of the total market cap of crypto. But where this really begins to get interesting is there is still a bunch of retail that has not gotten out of the way. Okay. Yes, there was some some long leverage liquidation zones down here, but look at this huge concentration of short leverage still to the upside in terms of BTC. And in fact, when we look at ADA is something that's Matic. We look at ADA is something right now that shorts should be staying away from, because we've already seen what kind of impact this can have on ADA price. So there are huge short leverage liquidation zones above here. Okay. And if you want a little bit of context for what massive liquidations can look like in terms of ADA, look at March, look at November. All right. This was where, if you guys remember, there was huge short presence on top of ADA. It was trying to suppress price. And unfortunately for them, they didn't get out of the way in time. The market wanted to run. ADA's got a pretty loud narrative with Cardano right now that is putting it in an even better position as time goes on. And the problem that the shorts are going to run into is I don't think they're going to be able to get out of the way fast enough. If BTC starts ripping, I would not be surprised if ADA starts ripping. We've already seen that one of the big and loudest interests in the space as of late is US-based assets. You're talking about ADA, XRP, you're talking about Algo, HBAR, who am I missing? I know I'm missing one. Algo and XLM. All right, that's the other one. Those are some assets that as of late have gone on some pretty significant runs because of the narrative. But the problem is now is that retail has gotten so bearish. There have been so many people calling for more downside and more uncertainty, but things are shifting the opposite way and they're not realizing this. Supply is dwindling and they're not realizing this. And this is all going to work together to create this massive liquidation event. Just as we saw the largest liquidation event ever to the downside, just imagine what this can look like to the upside as more people start to step in and try to press the market down to basically take the foot off the accelerator. But the big wild card here then is, does that trigger adoption from outside the space? Does this bring in those people that hadn't really been diving into crypto because they feel like they're going to miss out on this next big leg? Does this make ADA go on insane surges to the upside? Some people are projecting this next run for ADA could be an absolutely massive one, right? For example, Minturn is actually referencing an Alex Becker video where now Alex Becker is obviously bullish on top of for ADA, but talking about potentially $4 in May. Now that's a pretty big move. That's like an 8x, 7x, 8x move from where we're at currently. 7x move from where we're at currently. But that doesn't get so crazy when you start to see all these things working together. When you see the huge short interest in the crypto market, when you see this huge shortage of supply that's currently in place, when you see adoption begin. That's the big kind of wild card here is, will adoption help carry us to those highs? But I will say that if this does kick off the way that it's appearing like it's going to, there are going to be some face melting gains within the next 2 months. Now, this isn't to guarantee your financial advice or anything like that, but this is just how things are shaking out right now from a data perspective. Understand the market is fluid. We could see things change by even tomorrow. Maybe there's, a billion ADA that's put back on exchanges by tomorrow, but that isn't the recurring theme. What we're seeing is a lot of consistency, a lot of fundamental consistency for ADA, for assets in the crypto market. And I think that people are really going to be shocked by what comes next. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I appreciate you as always. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you see this playing out this way? Do you think we're going to get this massive short liquidation event? I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than people realize. So have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.